cellulite. It's fine. Am I wearing underwear? Yes, I am. I'm going to start with a disclaimer from the actual book, because there might be, young children running around, and which is fine. I'm not judging. But I just want you to know what you're getting into. And that is, let's see, the disclaimer is, I apologize in advance for this book and for offending you, because you're going to get halfway through this book and giggle at non sequiturs about Hitler and abortions and poverty, and you'll feel superior to all the uptight, easily offended people who need to learn how to take a fucking joke. But then somewhere in here you will read one random thing that you're sensitive about, and everyone else will think it's hysterical, and you will think, oh, that is way over the line. I apologize for that one thing. Honestly, I don't know what I was thinking. Alright, so the chapter that I'm going to read is one of my favorite chapters to read, because I get to scream some really inappropriate stuff right here in Indigo Kids. Awesome. It's awesome. You know what's great is, like, every time I've gone someplace, I'm always either in the kids section or in the mental health section. Every single time. And it's always fitting. It's always fitting. The psychopath on the other side of the bathroom door. A few weeks ago, my friend Lotta told me that her doctor told her that her antidepressants weren't working because she had too many toxins in her body, and that she needed to use a colon cleanse to flush everything out of her system. It sounded completely insane, and I told her that, but then she mentioned that she lost 3 pounds that very day, and I was immediately in. I convinced myself that I owed it to my family to have my crazy pills work properly, but really I just wanted to lose 3 pounds without working out. And that whole last sentence kind of proves why I need to be on crazy pills. So I went to the grocery store, but I couldn't find the colon cleanse, and I considered asking the pharmacist, but as I was waiting in line, I had a conversation in my head that went a little something like this. Yes, I'd like some colon cleanse. I've never heard of that. Sounds like something deviants use. No, it's something that cleans out your colon so that your antidepressants work better. I think you're using your antidepressants wrong. They go in your mouth. You are surprisingly unhelpful for a healthcare worker. I'm calling the police, you deviant. And I'm not sure why I jumped right to the pharmacist calling the police, but once the thought was in my head, it was stuck there, and so I panicked a little when the pharmacist asked what I needed. I paused awkwardly and then asked where the reading glasses were, and then he said that they didn't carry reading glasses, which is weird because most pharmacies do. And I always like to try them on and pretend that I'm a naughty librarian. So instead of the colon cleanse, I decided that I would just take a bunch of X-Lax because I figured next best thing, right? I bought the extra strength stuff because it was the same price as the regular strength, and so technically it was like I was saving money. And I thought that would help my argument when Victor demanded to know why I had bought $20 worth of unnecessary laxatives, although it turns out he didn't really care later about the cost effectiveness because he hates being economically feasible or just wants me to be fat or something. I already knew he'd be all judgy about the whole thing because he was also very unsupportive when I wanted to buy those Chinese foot pad things that suck all the toxins out of your body while you sleep. He claimed the whole Chinese foot pad thing was a scam, but I think he just wants me to suffer, or maybe that he's racist. And then when I called him racist, he got all mad and screamy, and I was like, I don't even know what I'm saying, those are the toxins talking. But he still wouldn't let me buy them. And this is exactly why I waited until the week that he left for a business trip to New York to actually do the cleanse. I took 2 chocolate squares of X-Lax that night, but then I noticed that the directions said that it would bring gentle results. And it seemed like a good colon cleansing shouldn't be gentle at all. So I took 3 more tabs. And they were chocolatey and delicious, and I was kind of hungry, so I ate another one. And then nothing happened at all. So the next morning I took 2 more. Because at this point I thought maybe there was something wrong with me and that I had some kind of freakishly high laxative tolerance. And then I went to Starbucks and I picked up a giant Frappuccino. See, you guys get it. I didn't. I had no clue that coffee was a laxative. So I drove back to my home drinking my Frappuccino, and then my intestines exploded. I bet Starbucks loves this. I I mean, they didn't literally explode, but it totally felt that way. And at first I was all, okay, pain is good, feel the burn. But then I realized that this was not like yoga, and that I had in fact made a horrible, horrible mistake. I'm not going to get graphic here, but it basically felt like my legs had melted and an elephant crawled inside my stomach and was clawing his way out. And the elephant had claws, apparently. And his nose was made of snakes. Since Victor was in New York and Haley was in school, I had the whole house to myself, which was good, because honestly, there would have been no way to maintain the sensual mystery of womanhood had anyone heard the noises coming from that bathroom. At a certain point, I started worrying that I might be ODing, and I wasn't sure what ODing on laxatives actually looked like, but I was fairly certain it would be messy and that you'd probably shit out your entire colon. I'm not even sure if this is actually medically possible. And I thought about calling Wada to ask her whether she felt like she was shitting out her colon when she was doing her cleanse, but I wasn't sure that I could talk without screaming, and also I didn't have her phone number. And so I sat there thinking that this would be a horrible way to die, because basically, no matter what I had accomplished in my life, it would always be overshadowed by, and then she died on the toilet from pooping out her own lower intestine. Like if it had happened to Thomas Edison, that would totally be the first thing that it would say in his Wikipedia entry. It'd be all, Thomas Edison, who pooped out his own colon, made a variety of inventions and changed the way we live today. Did we mention he pooped out his own colon? Because he totally did. Thomas Edison pooped out his own colon. Honestly, we can't stress this enough. It was about this time that I decided I needed to take action, so I found some Pepto-Bismol and took a full dose. I considered taking more, but at this point I was concerned I was going to have to call 911 for help, and I didn't want to have to explain why I had taken 3 times the recommended amount of laxatives and 3 times the recommended amount of anti-diarrhea medicine, because even to me that sounded like some sort of poorly planned suicide attempt. Taking just 1 dose of the anti-diarrheal seemed somewhat rational comparatively. Surely, I thought to myself, this will make me seem much more credible and much less likely to be put on suicide watch. Of course, the Pepto-Bismol was no match for the raw power of the X-Lax, and was much like wearing shin guards in the middle of a tornado. Except even less effective, because at least with shin guards, when they found your body later, you could still wear a skirt in your coffin, unless your legs got ripped off entirely, which could totally happen. But the Pepto-Bismol didn't do anything at all except turn my tongue black. Interesting side note, and I didn't realize this when I was writing the book, but apparently Pepto-Bismol only turns your tongue black if you're like 1 in 5 people, and I thought that happened to everybody, and it doesn't. So now like 4/5 of the people, see, a couple of people are like, yeah, me too. But so now like 4/5 of the people that are reading this book are like, what the fuck is she talking about? What? And the reason I know this is because Pepto-Bismol contacted me. They were not pleased. It crossed my mind that maybe eating a bunch of cheese might help, because I once went to school with a girl who ate too much cheese and got so constipated she had to go to the hospital to get the poop removed by a doctor. Plus it's organic. And after that, after I heard that, I could never really look at her in the same way, and I often wondered whether she got to keep the poop that they removed, like when you get to keep your tonsils. And then I remembered that I didn't even have any cheese in the house, and that even if I did, it would